Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for another video. Now today is a very bittersweet day because I have decided to sell my Fleetwood Limited and say goodbye to it. I have owned this car for about 8 years or so now. This was actually my very first car, and I've had lots of big changes in my life recently, lots of good changes, and I've realized that having 3 cars really isn't a part of my lifestyle right now. It's time to get rid of a vehicle, and I've decided the Fleetwood Limited is that vehicle. Now, for those of you who have been following my channel ever since the beginning, you would recognize this car as being the first vehicle I ever reviewed on this channel, my very first upload. At the time, you'd probably remember it was very cringy. I didn't really know how to talk to a camera, not very good flow, maybe didn't cover everything as well as I should have, but I was learning. But I think because now that I'm selling the car, especially, it deserves a second look. Now, for those who are new to the channel or maybe don't know what a Fleetwood Limited is, you can feel free to watch my first video I made on this vehicle, just because I did go into depth about what exactly the Fleetwood Limited is, all the specific details, and I'm not really going to rehash all of that here, but what I will do is talk about this particular Fleetwood Limited. Now, this car is a 1999 model. It was first sold at Taylor Cadillac in Toledo, Ohio, to a man named Daryl Duquette. Now, Daryl, he was a bit of a car guy. He had a very large collection, but he was also a pro bowler. He owned hotels, and he was very well-to-do. Although Daryl owned many different cars, some probably objectively better than this vehicle, he always said that the Fleetwood Limited was his favorite of them all. And as a matter of fact, my dad actually did meet Daryl on multiple occasions, and my dad told me the story. He ended up driving past this restaurant that he knew quite well and saw the Fleetwood Limited out in the parking lot. And this is back in 1999, and my dad was absolutely shocked to see a new Fleetwood Limited. So he went inside the restaurant, and he happened to know the owner, and he asked, who owns that 1999 Fleetwood Limited out front? And the owner said, it's gotta be Daryl. So my dad ended up finding him and gave him many compliments on the car and said how much he liked it. And from then on out, Daryl always told my dad, hey, I'll put this car in my will, so when I die, it'll be yours. Well, unfortunately, I never got to meet Daryl, and throughout the years, he continued to drive the car, and he eventually passed away in early 2017. Now, the Fleetwood Limited had sat for some time in Florida and hadn't been driven much, especially as Daryl got older. However, my dad and I ended up stumbling into someone else selling one of Daryl's other cars at a local car show. And at the time, I was about 16 or 17 years old, and I still didn't have a car. We were looking for my first vehicle, and my dad thought, I think the Fleetwood Limited will be perfect for my son. And after talking to the man selling Daryl's other car, we ended up finding out that yes, they still had the Fleetwood Limited. However, it was in Florida and about to go up for an estate sale. So my dad and I, we decided on a whim to fly down to Florida and buy the car sight unseen. And when we got there, I was a little bit disappointed to find out that the car wasn't in as good of shape as it is right now. The trunk pull down wouldn't work, the chrome was all pitted all around the car, and the air conditioning didn't work, the lights didn't work, many different issues like that. However, it was a start. My dad and I ended up driving the car all the way from Florida back to Ohio, a 15-hour drive over a day and a half, and it was quite the adventure. We had a fantastic time together learning about the car and having good father-son time together with my very first vehicle. And throughout the following years, I put over 40,000 miles on the Fleetwood Limited. It got me through high school, college, and I've had many other fun memories with the car as well. Okay, let's take a quick look around my Fleetwood Limited. Now, just as a refresher, the Fleetwood Limiteds were actually built in Lima, Ohio by Superior Coach, now known as AccuBuilt. Cadillac essentially licensed them to take standard DeVilles and lengthen them by a foot and give them special options. But anyways, let's talk about some of these special options. In the front of the car, this particular Fleetwood Limited came with this chrome grille cap. And I'm very glad that this car has this option, because this is really the only way to tell that this car is a Fleetwood Limited from the front end. Otherwise, it would look just like a standard DeVille, but it's nice having a little bit of extra chrome at the end of the hood just to make it look a little bit more stately and special. And then, of course, moving along to the side of the Fleetwood Limited, this is, I think, my favorite way to look at this vehicle, just because that 12-inch stretch at the back of the car makes this look so much more luxurious than a standard DeVille. As a matter of fact, every single time I look at a normal DeVille, it just looks wrong. It looks way too short. It doesn't look right. So really, the Fleetwood Limited has ruined the appearance of that car to me. And a few other things with the Fleetwood Limited that make it look really special and kind of like a classic Cadillac from the side view, and that would be the vinyl top. You could also get Fleetwood Limiteds with a cloth top as well, but I prefer the look of vinyl. And we also have rear wheel skirts on this vehicle. That was also a special option, and I think it really sets off the look of this car and makes it look very unique compared to a standard DeVille. And of course, we do have a Fleetwood Limited badge on both the front doors on this car. Very special, not going to see that many other places because they only built 781 of these cars over a 2-year period. Very limited run, and unfortunately, not many people know about them. But we also do have a stretch here in the back seat. You can see the 6-inch stretch by the rear wheels, and then another stretch in the trunk. You can also see that there. So 6 inches in the rear seat for extra space, and 6 inches in the trunk for extra storage. Actually a great idea, and really provides an excellent experience when in the back of the vehicle. We will get there soon enough. And of course, in the rear end, this looks a lot more like standard DeVille, but I do love the rear taillights on Cadillacs from this era. They still had the fin design and the vertical design that many Cadillacs are still known for today. Now let's take a look inside the trunk. I've got the key fob here with me, and just look at all of that space in there. That extra 6-inch stretch for the trunk makes this thing even more massive than it was before. And what's really funny is that back in the day when Cadillac was promoting this vehicle, they made brochures showing that you could fit golf clubs vertically in the trunk rather than horizontally. You can really tell what kind of clientele Cadillac was really promoting this car towards, but it actually works and really gives you so much more space to make this car truly extremely practical. And also back here we have our CD changer. It's a huge looking box, and I do believe it still works. Haven't used it in a while, but it's almost like there's an elevator here which selects the CD to play. And this guy right here is what holds all of those CDs. Just look at how many you can have in this vehicle. That would have been pretty high tech for 1999 if you ask me. Once again, an absolutely massive trunk for the Fleetwood Limited. And of course, just like other Cadillacs from the day, it has trunk pull down, which I absolutely love. One of my favorite features, so you don't have to slam the trunk and make a bunch of noise or put in too much effort. But once again, just to round out the exterior looks of this car, I really do love it just because it has that classic Cadillac appearance for 1999, which was becoming very rare. And now this car is actually a classic vehicle. It's over 25 years old, and it does look it, which I love. It looks very different from any other car you'll find on the road. Now, being a Cadillac from 1999, we of course can't avoid talking about the Northstar 32-valve V8 engine underneath the hood. Now, these engines from this era are really controversial just because of major issues that many of them had with overheating, blown head gaskets, really expensive stuff, and Cadillac did tout this engine as being very futuristic, not being able to run on coolant for a certain number of miles, and really it wasn't as good as they said. But knock on wood, I have actually loved my experience with this Northstar, and actually pretty much every Northstar I've owned or driven. But this engine is actually very powerful. It has about 275 horsepower and the same number in torque, so it actually moves pretty good for a very large and heavy sedan, which I do appreciate, which is very nice. But I also love the way that it sounds. It has a lot of character. However, because of those issues, pretty much every single Northstar has gotten a bad rap because of it. Even the newer Northstars, which don't have that problem, anytime people see Northstar on a car or on an engine, they automatically think that it's awful. And yes, it had its issues, but I've actually had a great experience with this car. And even on the highway, I have gotten nearly 30 miles per gallon in the past, which I've always been really impressed by. Now, yes, I'm going like 60 miles per hour for quite a long distance and driving like an old man. I have actually really enjoyed the Northstar engine. I think it's really underrated, honestly, for what it is. If you take care of it, it'll hopefully take care of you. All Cadillacs from this era had Northstars, and every Fleetwood Limited also came with Northstars as well. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for, at least the moment I've been waiting for, let's take a look at the interior. Now, of course, this car is triple black, and boy, does it look good. Now, yes, this is a General Motors vehicle from the late 90s, so you get a GM interior with it. Lots of plastic and lots of panel gaps, maybe some creaks here and there, but it does give you a true luxury experience as far as comfort goes. These seats have held up so well. The headrests, they move forwards and backwards, so you can really make it just as comfortable as you want. We do have heated seats and lumbar for both the front seats, which is great. Let me get inside here and show you guys all the other features here. Ooh, now closing the door, I do feel fairly cocooned in here. It is very nice. I do love how the seat controls are actually on the door, right at my fingertips. Automatic down driver's window. Everything else is power, of course. Memory seats, window lockout, power window controls. It's all right here. And of course, climate controls in the dashboard, as well as everything else you may want to see in your driver information display. We've got our standard radio for the day. Definitely does look very blocky compared to cars from today, and obviously no screens. But again, this is really a lot of features for the day. You can also get a control for the temperature on the passenger side of the car. You can only move it 4 degrees up or down, but it's something. Glove compartment, valet button, traction control, all that stuff. And yes, I still do have everything that came with the car back when it was new from Taylor Cadillac and from Cadillac themselves. But we also do have our owner's manual. And of course, all the standard stuff you'd want to know about Cadillac DeVille's from the time. But it's all here, which is great, including my calculator, which I was really proud of that fact when I originally reviewed this car, that it came with a calculator, because I'm sure that business people would be buying Cadillacs and need to do some sort of calculations while on the road. Unfortunately, I don't think this works anymore, but who knows? The batteries are well over 25 years old. But it's still nice to have everything here with the car. And of course, above me, we do have our garage home link. There is no sunroof on this vehicle. I do believe that was a dealer installed option at the time. We do have our sun visor, which is lighted. But what's nice about these DeVille's from this era is that they actually came with a second visor in the front, so you can cover up both windows if maybe you're going around bends and you don't have to constantly move the visor back and forth. But as far as everything is concerned in the front seat of the Fleetwood Limited, it's pretty much all standard DeVille. They didn't have any special options for the front seat of these vehicles when they were building the Fleetwood Limiteds, but still a very nice experience. And these seats, oh, they are to die for. I mean, they are actually comfortable to sit in for long periods of time. Whenever I take this car on road trips, I don't even bring a pillow with me. I don't need to have any blankets or anything special. These seats, fortunately, are very nice and very enjoyable to sit in. But the rear seat is truly where you want to be in the Fleetwood Limited. This is where things truly get special and a little bit different from a standard DeVille. Now, when they did this stretch, they did not stretch the door itself, which would have been a lot extra work to have to change the glass, all the components in the door. So they kept that standard and just kind of put in that extra space there and pushed the rear seats back 6 inches. But of course, it made a huge difference because you almost can't even touch the front seats when you're sitting in here. Of course, everything else here still very black interior. You do have the nice leather on the doors, which does feel good, and cigarette lighter, of course, because this is built in the 90s. Vanity mirrors above, lights, all that stuff. But again, just very poofy, nice seats. You know what? Let's go ahead and sit inside the car. Oh my goodness. Oh, yes. And the headrest in the back seat, it's in the perfect space for me to put my head and not even feel a thing. This is so, so nice. But yeah, in the back seat, I mean, what's really nice is that there is tons of space back here so you can stretch out and get comfortable, once again, for long road trips or wherever you may be going. But this car did come with multiple other Fleetwood Limited options, which are very special. One of my favorite being the footrests. As you can see, both sides of the car has it. All this really is, I believe, is just a block of wood that's felted, but it's got little grippies on the bottom here so it doesn't slide around so much. What would have been nice is if there was a footrest maybe attached to the seat in front of the rear passengers, which is what older Cadillacs did back in the day. But I'm guessing this would have been easier for them to do. And this must be the last Cadillac to technically come with them as an option, which is pretty neat. Above me, we have our vanity mirrors, of course, lighted once again, which is great. My number one favorite thing, potentially about the Fleetwood Limited, but certainly about the back seat, is this wooden writing table. Now, this is not an actual writing table that came with this particular car. However, this did come in a Fleetwood Limited. And what you could do actually in the days, you could buy dual writing tables or a single writing table. But what's really nice about it is that it is real wood. It is extremely solid. And just opening it, oh my goodness. I mean, it is just incredible. It's honestly the highest quality thing I've ever felt in a car ever. And I know that may not be saying much. I haven't been in many high-end cars, but I mean, it is completely solid and extremely satisfying to open and close, and just listening to it. It sounds amazing. And what's really neat is I did actually get some use out of this. I had this installed when I was in college still, and I would actually have my dad drive me to school up in Michigan, and he would happily drive me, and I'd write a paper on my computer back here. It would fit on the table perfectly, and got some good use out of it. But once again, a very unique experience in the back seat, especially compared to a standard DeVille, because you're getting all this room, you're getting all the luxury, and you could also get several other options too, such as a cellular phone or a VCR player with a screen up here in the middle of the ceiling. But that was an extremely rare option. Not many cars came with it. But as mentioned before, a very nice luxurious experience in the backseat of a Fleetwood Limited. Okay, here we go in the 1999 Fleetwood Limited. So as I kind of discussed before, when my dad and I first got this car, it was in a little bit of rougher shape. I think that Daryl maybe didn't realize that the car had an exhaust leak, needed a little bit of work cosmetic-wise. But that's okay. We ended up putting money into the car. We've replaced the front struts, the rear air shocks, the tires as well. We now have Michelin's on the car. It needed a little bit of help, and not many people are stupid enough to put a bunch of money into late 90s Cadillacs, but we did, and it really served its purpose being my first car. And I've really grown to love this car and Cadillacs as well, because when I first got this vehicle, I really wasn't that into cars, or even Cadillacs for that matter. I learned how to detail them, appreciate them, take them to car shows. I've really grown to love them just because of this car. And I really am thankful for that, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have had the same experience that I did growing up with vehicles and with my hobby today. It's been absolutely fantastic. And back when I first made my first YouTube video on this car, I didn't really know what I was doing. Of course, I was a bit camera shy, but I didn't really know how to film a YouTube video, and I didn't exactly show a long driving portion of the vehicle. Now, I did end up doing a POV video of this car, which did catch a lot of its driving essence, but once again, it's just kind of nice to actually do a longer driving portion and talk about how this car rides and drives. And you know what? Let's take a listen to that Northstar V8 and hear how she does. Let's see if I can blow it up right before I sell the car. Traction engaged. It's 45, 60. Wow, okay, she's got some pep, like I mentioned. It's actually impressive just how much power these Northstars have. And wow, I think it actually might be the first time I've actually really chirped the tires on the Fleetwood Limited. What I love about these Cadillacs with the Northstar engines especially is that it gives you enough power for when you need it. If you need passing power or to merge onto a highway, it's going to move for you. And I think it would catch most people by surprise. It does settle down so well. It's very comfortable and relaxed and boaty. And the steering, it is nice and soft like the seats, so I can really relax as I'm driving this car. It's almost tempting just to close my eyes and let the car just kind of guide myself down the road, which of course wouldn't be safe, but it really is relaxing. That's the other thing too, is that this car on the interior is so different from most modern cars. There are no screens around you to distract you. There's nothing crazy as far as the technology is concerned. This car, and I think because of it, has so much character. And I think that the 90s to early 2000s was kind of the end of that era as the technology started to really take over. And once again, this is just kind of a last gasp of the classic Cadillacs. Oh, bad cat. Oh, wow. This cat just ran right in front of the car. Ooh. So glad I didn't hit that cat. I would have felt awful. And the nice thing is, every time I do get behind the wheel of this car, it does bring back so many good memories. Not just with the Florida trip with my dad picking up the car, but driving to and from school, being with my friends, learning how to detail cars and film my YouTube videos. What really started that is that when I got this car, I realized there are no videos online of Fleetwood Limiteds, and I was kind of desperate to learn more information, to see other Fleetwood Limiteds. And I figured, well, there's nothing online. What if I make my own video about the car and put it out there for other people to see. So I ended up just grabbing my phone and had some family members help me and film the video. And this car has really been there every step along the way during my car journey, and it's had more of an effect on my life than any other car. And knowing this car is for sale, I'm sure you all are wondering, is it going to go up for auction? Am I putting it online? Well, actually, this car is going to be sold back to Taylor Cadillac, where this car was initially sold. The owner of the dealership wants to purchase it and use it as a car to ferry customers. And now that the Fleetwood Limited is leaving my care after all these years, I am really hopeful that the car will touch the lives of others as it has done for me. This is more than just a car to me. Before I owned the Fleetwood Limited, I didn't have a passion for cars like this. Honestly, I felt a little self-conscious about driving something so different from what my peers had. But over time, this car became a bridge to a hobby I now truly love. It showed me that cars can carry more than people. They carry emotions, memories, and bonds with their owners. My connection to this car won't disappear just because I'm selling it. I'm sure many of you had similar feelings with your first cars. The makes and models may have been different, but the experiences and memories are often the same. So while it's difficult to let the Fleetwood Limited go, I'm hopeful. Maybe it will inspire someone else the way it inspired me. Whether that's falling in love with Cadillacs, joining the car hobby, or making new friends along the way. That's what makes letting it go worth it. I think Daryl Duquette would agree. Thank you so much for watching.